All right. Welcome back to My Best Friend's an Engineer. I'm Lexi.
I'm Libby.
And today we're going to talk all about working from home as an engineer.
Yeah, I think coming with COVID times brought the delicious luxury of working from home with a STEM degree.
So delicious.
I feel like it's not something that any of us were prepared for. It's such a fun thing to navigate, and
as an engineer, I never would have thought that I would be working from home. I really wanted to. I think I hit a point junior year where all my friends were applying to business jobs, like the management consulting jobs, and I was like, oh my God, they're going to be working in cool cities like Chicago, and they're like looking at apartments, and I'm like, okay, well, let me just work in suburbs in a manufacturing plant. And then I just had a midlife or mid-college crisis. I was like, did I pick the right thing? And I was like, okay, girlfriend, do not change your major because you want to work in the city. I was like, that is
I totally remember that time. I remember you being like, I'm looking for consulting, like,
and you're like,
maybe work from home.
I was like, I don't know what I'm going to consult on. But
I was like, what? Because before, like, they made us work from home because of COVID. Like, I feel like it was just so unheard of.
Yes, exactly. Especially I feel like chemical and like mechanical engineers, just no way that you could do that remote. Like maybe I get it, like maybe like engineering management, or I know systems engineering is kind of one, or of course, obviously software engineering, but just chemical and mechanical, no way. But I had this vision. I was like, I want a trench coat, pea coat, or whatever. I want to be walking in Chicago. I want the snow. I want my little bag, and I just want to be walking to the office. Yeah. And I was like, nope, I'm just gonna have a backpack, and I'm gonna have steel-toed boots, and I'm gonna be walking from my car to the plant.
So. It's the fine luxury that we're learning to live in. But before we get into the topic, do you want to start on? Should we just recap how the week is going?
Yeah. Do you want to go first? Hopefully, no more dog stories.
No more dog stories. Poor baby Tika. She does have to get her stitches out soon though because of the whole losing her tail amputation situation. But what did I do this week? No, like work was good. I am still dealing with like the whole car situation. So like that drama is still consuming my life right now.
You've been able to reach anyone at least?
Unfortunately. Yes, finally. So actually, and I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast last week, but when we were in Disney, I finally got a hold of somebody while we were waiting in line for like one of the rides. I called the person that was handling my case and I was like, okay, can you please give me your supervisor? Or like, it was the office. I didn't actually talk to the person because she hasn't been, getting back to me. So I talked to the supervisor and they were like, okay, we'll do something about it. And then this week, finally, somebody said that I have an estimate, which is good news.
Very good.
And then, okay, this is so lame. Listen to this. So now I'm in the stage like filling out this paperwork, and half of the paperwork is online that you can download and like print out yourself, and the other half of it you have to wait for them to send it in the mail.
Oh no.
How does that make sense?
But also, I don't know too much about insurance stuff. I've never gotten in a crash, knock on wood. But that is so unfortunate. Also, I like how you do all your business calls like at Disney while you're waiting in a ride, and then you get the call of the dog from the vet while you're at Disney.
I know. I'm like putting my finger in my ear. I'm like, can you hear me?
Well, that's good. At least you made progress.
I know we're making progress. So and all of it is like, I mean, I guess I should be grateful that all of it they're doing like overnight mail, but still, like they overnighted me some documents on Wednesday and they didn't arrive until today, which it's Friday. It's like, that's fine. But like, come on, chop. I'm trying to get a car here. Oh, so the saga continues with that. Other than that, like work has been pretty good. I don't know. It's kind of the point where my next big project starts February 15th. And so this week, especially getting back from PTO and stuff, was like, okay, let's get this stuff figured out. Like it's about to happen.
You plan it now, kind of 2 weeks before?
We've been kind of like planning this particular customer. They have, I don't know. I think they have maybe like 8 or 10 power plants, and a lot of them are like sister units. So what they did is they're like taking all the stuff from one unit and like fixing it up and moving it to the next unit. So this is the second time we're doing it. So like at least we have like one project to have like historical data from, you know, like how everything went. So we've kind of been planning since like since the outage ended in 2020. But now it's kind of like, okay, crunch time, you know, like make sure everybody's ready. And of course, questions always come up. And so, yeah.
Exciting though.
How about you?
It was good. I was on site every day this week. I feel like people don't believe that I work from home because I've been on site so often. But we finally finished the production runs. Monday, I was there at 5 a.m. in the snowstorm.
Oh,
just drove a little car. I was like,
how was that?
Pretty. The snow was crazy. I was like behind the plows. But I was like, I'm gonna get there. We're gonna start this run. The machine broke. There was a chain issue. So like for the first 4 hours, we're like, okay, are we even gonna be able to run it? Worked our magic. We ran one run and we have to do 3 total for performance qualifications. So we ran one on Monday and then Tuesday, 5 a.m. I was there, did the other 2. We finished that. So then after that, it was kind of just like pulling the samples, pulling the boxes, and like working with the warehouse crew to figure that out because they'll be getting sent for sterilization because they're sterile samples. So it was a lot of on-site work this week, so super hectic, but now I'm kind of in the report drafting phase. So it will be more remote.
Everybody's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Reports.
Like bringing me back to like chem lab, like reports. Like, okay.
PTSD.
But yeah, after being on site so often though, I think it'll be nice to just kind of like close everything out and get everything all set. But yeah, and then other than that, I had a training that my team gave this morning actually, but I was supporting. So I know one of my goals was actually trying to give more trainings at work.
Yeah.
So now my boss he's kind of like trying to help me with that. So I was like acting as support. So I was in the little breakout rooms. I'm like, do you have any questions?
Cool.
So that was fun. And then other than that, we actually had, so at my company, we have a women's resource group. So this isn't just with engineers, but it's like women from all different departments throughout the company. So we had like an end of year meeting for last year to kind of talk about everything. And they actually are starting a mentorship program for women. So I volunteered to help out at that. So we'll see where that goes. But that was kind of exciting, kind of something new because I just recently joined that group. So it's like my second meeting only. So we'll see where that goes. But other than that, it was just a busy week.
Just kicking it.
Yep. So
I feel like the beginning of the year this is such a weird time of the year, I feel like, because the weather is blah. It's cold out. Well, we're both from the Midwest, so for us it's cold.
Yeah.
There's nothing really there's no like really holidays. I mean, Valentine's Day is coming up, but like
it was on the Super Bowl weekend, so now it's like
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
get prepared.
Expectations low. But I feel like, and I was talking to my boss about this, I was like, I feel like we got so busy in January. And he was saying a lot of the capital projects just get approved at the end of the year. So they have all this funding in the beginning. So it's like, it's always usually just like ramped up. So I don't know how it is for you guys, but I just feel like we've been slammed. It's been so many things. So it's finally going down. So
we've just been, because we're getting ready for it to be so busy this spring. And we had, I think it must have been a meeting this week. I don't know. I'm getting my weeks all jumbled, but my boss was like, yeah, I know it's going to be hell for everybody. And I'm like, you're not really giving us much motivation. He's like, we're all going to be in hell from now until June. And I'm like, June is so far away. How am I going to survive? Like, and then here I am.
Is that like the just in hell?
Just in hell at work. And I'm like, every meeting I'm always like, how's everybody's day going? And they're like, can you just shut up, please? I'm like, no, try to keep it positive.
Funny. So is that kind of the duration of that big project you were talking about? Like, you know, from now until June? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Luck.
It's
We'll reconvene in
crazy.
June to see how it went.
Probably all the podcast episodes from now until June. Every time we do the weekly update, I'm just gonna be like, I'm drowning. But it'll be good. It's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we wanted to start a new thing on the podcast where we read out some of your responses you guys have been giving us on our survey form. For those who don't know, the survey is linked in it'll be linked in the show notes, but it's also in our bio on Instagram. And if you share the podcast and you take a screenshot, you can upload the screenshot on that form, and then we will send you our we've got some templates out. Lexi, do you want to just give another brief rundown of what the templates are?
Yes. So one of them is a 4-year college planner. So it allows you, if you're just entering college, you can kind of put in all your courses, all your credits that you need. I found that this was super helpful to have my own tracker throughout school because, I went to my advisor so many times, so many college crises. I'm like, what do I major in? What do I minor in? All this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just easier for me to track it on my end because, again, if you're coming with them with all these questions, they don't really, maybe sometimes they miss some things, or it's just good to have like a second review to make sure you're hitting everything. I don't know if you experienced that at all. Like, did you have to like add a class all of a sudden randomly?
My
like,
advisor was clueless.
Yeah.
He had no idea.
I feel so bad because it's like, and the schools do give you like a course list initially during orientation, but I feel like it changes so much. So I don't know. I like having my own tracker. So that's one of them. The second one is for people in college looking for jobs or internships, just that tracker to so you can add in all of the links to what you applied for, the location, all that info, just like notes throughout the interview rather than, saving each resume or like notes separately in a folder, because that did not work for me. So we learned slowly but surely. We lived and we learned. So you guys don't have to. So you guys can start the right way.
We knew that we were gonna start a podcast, so we were like, in the future.
Could you imagine us just brainstorming ideas in your room, just being like, let's do a podcast? I would have never thought.
How come that never? I feel like it's because podcasts were not that big when we were in college.
Yes, true.
But that never came to our minds.
And all of a sudden with COVID, they kind of started becoming more popular. But okay, we digress. The last template is a project tracker for work, which you can also apply to I think school projects as well. So it kind of allows you to write in the scope, all the deliverables, each date, just again, those paper trails, having all that info, just being able to keep track of all that. So that's when you submit that form.
So I hope that it's working. We were getting a couple DMs of people saying that it wasn't working for them, or like they needed to have a Google email address. It shouldn't not matter. It should not matter what kind of email address you have. So if you have submitted a form to us and we have not sent you the trackers, please DM us again. We're not trying to exclude anybody. We probably just accidentally missed it. And if for some reason you're having issues with the Google form, just let us know. We're still trying to work out the kinks.
We're living and learning.
We're living and learning, so you don't have to.
That's the new motto.
Yeah.
But awesome.
Should I go first, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right, I'll kick it. Okay. So the whole point of this, why did I get into this topic? Oh, because we're trying to read off some of these comments you guys are leaving. So if you do go in and do the survey, basically what you do is you submit your screenshot, and then there's a place for you to leave a comment about what the podcast has been like so far, or if you have any suggestions for topics or guests you would want to see on. So we have this new idea where hopefully each week we want to try to read one of those comments, or just read out one of the reviews that you guys are leaving. So I will kick it off. This person says, I love the podcast so far. My favorite part right now is how relatable it is. Oh, thank you. And how valid my day-to-day struggles feel now that I can see other women engineers have similar challenges. Crying when frustrated? Heck yes. Men in general just punch their desk or yell, but it's all frustration. They don't get that sometimes their outlet could be crying from the third episode. Yep. I think we talked about that a lot in the third episode. Also, it was interesting to hear about how the pandemic has changed school for engineering students. I graduated in December 2019, so I was a year into my career when the pandemic started. Therefore, I really didn't know what it was like for college students when everything happened. Overall, all the ideas that you guys have already highlighted have been great. I definitely value any discussion that makes me realize that I'm not alone. Keep up the great work. You both are doing amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't have the email that was the response is connected to. So whoever you are, thank you.
Thank you. We're just doing our best out here. Hopefully
we're
relatable.
We're learning.
We're relatable galleys. Relatable galleys in STEM.
All right. So the one that I wanted to read out, someone said, I love your podcast. Episode 4 was especially helpful, and I loved hearing about your week vacation dog story. So sorry, by the way. So sorry, Libby.
R.I.P.
I am a chemistry major about to start my senior year thesis and will for sure be keeping a paper trail of this project. I love that. Thank you for taking that away from our last episode, because that is my favorite part of things in general.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't listened to episode 4, make sure you check it out after you finish listening to this episode. We talked all about what it's like to do school projects, work projects, and Lexi reminded us that we got to keep a paper trail no matter what we do.
Lexi's crazy about writing everything down. Lexi keeps too many notes.
I had somebody reach out to me because I've been sharing on my Instagram about how I'm trying to utilize OneNote more to keep track of everything at work. And she shared with me a video of what her OneNote looks like. And it was way more on steroids than my OneNote. She even imports the Outlook meetings and takes attendance.
Oh my gosh.
And she was
love that.
She was like, these are for my extra feisty meetings when I know somebody's going to bring something up that they forgot or something. She's like, I take meeting notes for every meeting and I can keep attendance so that if somebody says we didn't talk about it, I can show them that we did.
She sounds like a queen.
I know.
I think I need to see that OneNote.
I know. I was like, because I had just started doing checklists for each project, and then she showed me this, and I was like, oh my God. She kept a tab for every meeting, imported the thing.
I love it.
I know. I was like,
I support fully.
We support fully. We got to maybe we'll have to bring on a OneNote expert to give us all the advice on how to keep a paper trail.
That would actually be so fun. That sounds like something that someone wouldn't get too excited about, but we
do.
Yes.
All right.
Well, thank you for your responses again and your feedback. Keep sending them in. We love constructive criticism, and let us know how we can improve and get better.
Yes, please. And again, if there's any specific topic that you guys want us to talk about, feel free to DM us or fill out this form. We're totally open to all topics that you guys want to see from us. Also, if you have any people that you would like to see on as guests, let us know, and we'll try our best to interview them.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Should we start by talking about how it was like starting to work from home? I feel like you can probably speak pretty well about this, since you did, you were working in office and then switched suddenly.
Yeah.
Maybe done it before, but
right. Yeah. Maybe we can dive a little bit deeper into what it was like for me, because we both had different experiences. Because you started while everybody was working from home. So when I started working from home, it was March 2020. And I think we've mentioned this in other episodes, but if you're new here, March 2020, when the world shut down, I went working from home. And I work at a company that is very old school. I'm sure some of you can relate. I majored in mechanical engineering. I work with a lot of, if any of them are listening, I'm not trying to offend them, but kind of like dads, like car dads. That's kind of how I can describe the people that I work with. All these men are probably in their 50s, 60s and super old school, not really in it with technology or social media or anything under that realm. So all that to say, it was very shocking for my industry to be working from home. We have a shop and we have components that come to the shop, and every day before we went working from home, you're like in there looking at your components. And so it was like, well, how can you be working from home if what you need to be doing is in the shop? So that was really shocking, first of all. Also, if you can remember back to like when COVID first hit, like nobody really knew what was going on. Like everybody was kind of like, wait, is this a fire drill? Like what's, like that
There's
was
kind
kind
of
of
like
like
a pause, right?
yeah, it
Is
was,
that what you would describe it as? Like everyone was kind of just like,
yeah,
what do I do?
right. And so I don't remember the exact date in March, but it was in the middle of March. And prior to that, a lot of other companies had been starting to work from home, I would say probably since the beginning of February. And I have like, memories of coworkers coming in being like, oh my God, are we next? And everyone was like, no, we're not next. There's no way we can be next. Like we cannot be working from home. So yeah, it was just a little bit weird. I would say, I mean, it really did take me like a solid 6 months to get into the groove of working from home. That's not to say that I didn't like actually work for 6 months, but like I think it was kind of the situation where it was like, oh, it'll just be for 2 weeks. And then it was like, okay, by April we'll be back. And then it was like, okay, by summer we'll be back. So it was kind of hard to get the feel for like how permanent or temporary the situation would be. So yeah, it definitely took me a while, but I would say now, I mean, it's January 2022, about to hit 2 years from working from home. That's crazy. Um, I feel like I have such a good system down now, and I cannot even imagine going back like full time in the office. Like I'm going back to the office, but being there completely full time and having no opportunity to work from home ever any day is just so foreign to me.
Do you think your company would require that eventually once we get settled with all these,
I don't know
everything
that.
going on?
Right. It's so weird because for, like I said, it kind of continued with oh, well, by winter we'll be back in the office full time. Oh, next year we'll be back in the office full time. And that talk has kind of dwindled a little bit. Like nobody's really bringing up like, oh, when are we going to go back in the office? It's kind of just like, this is how it is.
Yeah.
So for the foreseeable future, I think we're going to be working from home. And now our deal is, right in March when we started working from home, strictly we could not come into the office because of COVID. Like we were given pretty much direct orders from HR that if you can do something where, because we have personnel that work on the shop floor, and it was kind of like, if you can do something where somebody can send you pictures or videos, do it that way and do not come in. Now it's kind of more like, okay, when you have components in the shop, it's kind of like a understanding that you must be in the shop. So I kind of like it that way because there's definitely times, kind of like what you're saying in the beginning of the episode, where you're working on maybe a report or something where you don't really necessarily need to be in the office, that you could do it from home.
So when you started, did you find that work took longer because everyone was transitioning to remote? Like you mentioned, a lot of people weren't very familiar with this technology. Did you notice that? I know that you mentioned that your productivity got back on track and everything, but
Yeah.
were things kind of just prolonged?
Yeah, I mean, I think at first it was really weird, but I would say personally, like I never really felt a sense of like a lack of responsibility or like a sag from anyone, like or like the expectation that was given off from my boss was like, this should not affect you at all, which I think was good. And I think it's good that I didn't really notice a difference. I think there definitely was like a learning curve with like, okay, now we're gonna have to pretty much set up meetings anytime we want to talk to each other. And like, that was kind of different, but I don't know. I feel like everybody adapted pretty well, pretty quickly, at least.
Good. Very good.
What was it like for you starting work from home? I know you said your previous job, you kind of was a little bit different from this job.
Definitely. Yeah. So my first 2 weeks at that job, I was like helping with PowerPoints actually. So it's kind of funny, just like not really doing anything. They taught me like Visio and like all this fun little stuff. And I was just helping out with like updating the onboarding decks and just working on that project, but kind of just like not anything related to engineering at all. And then all of a sudden they're like, we need you on the East Coast. We need like you on site. And I was like, okay, well, I'm super excited. Never really went to that East Coast. Love it. I keep talking about that. So I think starting like in industry, your first job, it was just so weird. It was crazy. It was just, I think they had to focus on revamping the onboarding to just be more applicable for remote work. Usually you're on site, and I guess I was helping out with that with like the updates on the decks, but
decks.
So then I was on site. So then that was just normal. I think I'm honestly very grateful I did have that opportunity coming into industry. I just learned so much, and it would have been very different, starting my first role completely remote. But then just transitioning, to this new role completely remote, that was a shocker. That was crazy. That was, again, there are so many things, you don't know the mannerisms of people. You don't know how the company likes to do things. It was just so many things that, coming from being on site every single day, traveling every single week, to sitting in my room, like
your childhood bedroom.
Do I send an exclamation point? I'm like, okay,
flower emoji. Gelly goes stem.
I'm Lexi. Nice to meet you. So that was just a crazy transition.
When you interviewed for that second position, did they ask you any questions that were specific to working remote?
They did not, because the expectation was that I would travel to sites here and there.
Okay.
But I think, something that goes unsaid in these interviews nowadays is I think it's your online presence during these Zoom interviews. For example, like, I'm sure that they're just trying to take into consideration how well you can speak and virtually, if that makes sense, because sometimes you do speak with vendors and clients, so I think that does have an aspect. I was never strictly asked like, oh, are you able to work from home, or do you have like a good setting, or are you comfortable with this? It was kind of more, if I really botched, like if I really could not look into a webcam and talk to someone, you wouldn't be considered, candidate. But never straight up asked. I did have someone say during an interview, this was actually for like my first position right out of school, they said that you have a really good web presence, which is good. I'm like, is it because I talk too much and I don't like silence? I'm like, I'm like, is that it? But so I don't know. That was the only time that has ever been brought up, though, straightforward, like directly. But yeah.
Does your company give you like anything for like work from home supplies?
Yes. So my first role, I actually had to go meet someone on the weekend, which was a little bit interesting to meet it, but I think it was just such a quick turnaround from when I accepted the offer to when I started. And then my second role, I got everything sent to me. I got a really nice backpack, which I use every day.
Ooh.
So, because they sent it, and I was like, oh, that sucks that I won't be able to use it as much. And now I'm like, thank God, because I use it every day.
They knew you'd be on site at 5 a.m.
Yeah, they got me. Yeah, they got me there. But other than that, I got some monitors, keyboard. I got the whole shebang. They were spoiling me. But how about you? So you probably took a lot from your office, right? You're just taking the monitors, one under each arm.
So that's what everybody was doing, because everyone was freaking. I swear to you, it felt like a natural disaster was occurring when, like, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast yet before, but I came in like any normal day, and my boss came over to everybody at like 10 a.m. and was like, grab your stuff and go. And I was like,
get out of the building. I can just imagine your face, just like you walking around campus after an exam. I remember that. That was so funny. You were just like in a different world. I can imagine you just like, oh my God, what's going on? Like,
I think I was grabbing everything. I was using my gel pens, I think, in that week, and just because I was trying to learn the components, so I'd print out a drawing and I would color in the components. So he probably came over when I was like doing a little coloring, just engineering stuff. And everybody like made a mad dash for the door, and I was so overwhelmed, and I didn't know you were allowed to take stuff, because I don't know, nobody really talks about that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I didn't want to be stealing. So Like, I didn't want them to be like, who is this girl? Who does she think she is taking stuff from the office? Because I don't, like you said, like the mannerisms, like I didn't really know.
Yeah.
So I didn't take anything home but my laptop. And I've been working on my laptop for 2 years, which
no monitors?
No.
Wow.
Just
Good
the
for you. I have 3. I have 4 screens at once. I'm like, report protocol this.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now we're just being dramatic with all these screens. I'm like a day trader.
A rear view.
Like, you see,
you got a swivel chair.
Yeah, literally.
You're talking to Japan on one computer, you're talking to California on the other.
Those gaming screens where it's curved a little bit.
They're curved. They're so big.
I want to invest in one so bad, and I didn't know it was gaming. I was like looking, and I was like, wow, this person has like. I was like wondering what the difference is because I've never, used that. So now I'm like,
yeah.
do I splurge? Do I get one of those big boys and just?
Yeah. I think the most I've splurged is this pink mouse. So
cute.
I was using the trackpad before, so that's how.
Yeah. That's cute though. Very cute. It's very on brand. It's very on brand for us.
Very on brand.
Maybe that's the thumbnail. Just pink mouse. Literally nothing else. That's it.
So yeah, it was weird. But like I know that all my other coworkers have monitors at home. And I'm sure that I probably could. But no, I don't even know if I could get a monitor now because there was a point where we got an email that was like from our IT department that was like, do not take any monitors home anymore. People are stealing them. Like they made it so you couldn't get them anymore because people were just like taking them. I don't know. It's a whole bit debacle.
Debacle. Yeah, stealing monitors. People just want to do their jobs.
They just want to do their
They're
job.
selling it on the black market instead.
They might have been, or like giving them to their kids to bring to college. Who knows?
It's so funny.
I don't know.
You can expense it, or
I probably. I think that I don't know. And that's the thing that we're talking about. Like, we still don't know what's going on. Like, if this is permanent for realsies, and not just like a 2 or 3 year deal. Actually, no. When does it not? Like, how is this not permanent? We've been doing this for so long at this point.
Yeah.
Who knows?
My first company actually gave us like a $500 stipend for like
a new really
desk. So I got a standing desk, which we'll talk about in the tips of what I recommend. But
yes,
spoiler, standing desk. I
need to get one of those. I have one of those at work.
Do you use it, or did you use it whenever you go in there?
Yes. Okay. So another thing is that like they renovated our office literally in January of 2020. So like,
oh gosh, terrible
new
timing.
Carpet. New cubicles, new standing desks, new cabinets, new everything, and nobody has used it really.
Oh, see, that's sad. See, we also just recently, or the company did, they just updated their headquarters from one building to another, and I got a tour of it. So nice. Yeah. I wish, like, I would love to come into work every day and just go, because they had a really nice gym.
Yeah.
Like even after hours, I could, to avoid traffic. But one thing I wanted to ask. So you mentioned that you could print these component forms and everything. Mm-hmm. Were you able to print from your personal printer, like documents, or is that something that wasn't allowed when you went from home? Like you can only print it on a company.
Oh, yeah. So I honestly don't know if we have like a specific policy. There have been times like while working from home that I've had to print things out. And I honestly just use my personal printer and it's been working because it's not like, I would say I maybe print things out like, I try to keep everything on the computer as possible. Maybe I'm printing things out once every couple of weeks. But I do try to kind of save that for when I'm in the office. And the coloring of the parts, that was before we went work from home. So I was using the company printer.
The office. Okay. Yeah, because one thing I noticed, so I love doing things hard copy, like just notes in general and then transferring.
Like highlighting.
And just like reading things. Like I just feel like when I stare at a screen for too long, especially these protocols, like they're 20 pages, like you just could keep reading and staring for hours. So I would love to just like, whenever I was on site, actually read the hard copy. But one thing I couldn't do was print on my personal like from my work laptop on my personal printer.
Man.
So that kind of sucked and took some getting used to, because now I'm like, staring at a screen so much more. So I kind of like being on site just because I can print and like actually read things. But that's one thing that I can't even like connect to a printer. Also the USB drives. You need to like send it to IT for them to encrypt and like
Yes.
it's crazy. I was like, wow, you guys are good.
I know we cannot use USB drives. And another kicker for us is that these final reports that we send after projects can be hundreds of pages long. And if you for most of our customers, we have like a customer portal where we can upload it and they can get it online and all this jazz. But for customers who aren't in that portal, we have to get it to them somehow. And I would have to like jump through hoops to have IT put it on a USB drive because they don't like to do that because like they don't want it to get intercepted in the mail or anything.
Yeah. So it's just so interesting learning all that stuff and like seeing all that. Because I'm like, I just want to read this like 30-page document just like without staring at a screen. And I'm like, oops, I can't. So that was actually a transition from my second role.
We could do a whole episode probably of just about like equipment that you use. And this could be for any job, not even engineers, because let me tell you how embarrassing it was to ask someone how to use the printer because I didn't know how to use it.
Oh, the most embarrassing part is Outlook. I like ask, I was like, how do I set my out of office?
Oh my God, Outlook.
PTO. I'm like, it's like 4 months into my role. I'm like, to ask my boss, I'm like, how do I set my status? And he's like, you haven't taken any days off. I was like, no.
You're like, I'm too embarrassed to ask, so I just taking days off.
It's a topic that we can talk about. Take your PTO.
Yeah. One time somebody, literally, I have a vivid memory of this. Like, it is making me cringe so hard. Somebody asked me, I was invited to a meeting and I didn't know that like you could just hit yes or no. Because you know how you can say like respond to sender?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that there were like other options. So every single person, like if a meeting conflicted, I was writing them a note being like, I'm so sorry that I cannot attend your meeting. I have a different meeting. I didn't know you could just say no. And so like,
I mean, that's really nice of you. They were probably like, oh my God, this girl is so nice.
This girl's like, they're like, why is she sending us all these personal notes? I went up to some guy and I asked, and he was like, just hit no. And I was like, I hate myself. That's funny. Literally so embarrassing. Why is office life so embarrassing?
Oh my gosh. It always gets you some days. There are some days where I just am like, did I really just have to talk that long?
Yeah. Okay, I think we kind of talk. Oh, what does your like work from home office look like? We did talk about like how we have monitors and stuff, but do you have like, you said you have a standing desk?
Yes. So I initially set up in my room and I did not like that. It was so close to my bed. It's just, I needed a different area. So now I'm in the basement pretty much, which, desk down here. So it's fine. So yeah, just no like office setting because my mom also works from home. So she kind of has an office and I don't think now I could be in the same room as someone while I'm working if I'm actually needing to get work done. So that's so interesting being in the office. They actually had an extra office for me. So it's not like a cubicle where people walk by. So that was nice, at least so I can close the door when I need to like focus and just get some stuff done. But that is one thing I noticed. I am such a prima donna now because I'm like, oh, it's like I hear noise. I can't. Like I need like silence and just to hyper focus. But I don't know. We got to work on that. But how about you?
When I first started working from home, like how I was saying, we were in like this kind of weird part where we didn't know like what was going on. I was literally just working from my bed. Terrible work setup.
Oh wait, ergonomic. I do remember that because you were like, I didn't buy a desk for so long.
No, I didn't buy a desk because I didn't like. I think in high school I literally did my homework on my floor, like. Or like I don't know. I don't remember doing homework in high school very much. I'm sure it got done somehow, but anyway, so I didn't have like a specific.
You're an engineer now. You clearly.
Hopefully I got it done.
You made it.
So I didn't have a desk at home, so I was just working in bed, and then I think I might have already said this in a previous episode, but I used like one of those little ottomans that you can buy from Walmart, that the storage ones that you put things in. I had one of those from college, so I would sit on that and put the laptop on my bed and
that's funny.
Use the trackpad because I didn't have a mouse and I was only using my laptop. And then I had my little notebook right next to it. And then I upgraded and I got a desk. So I think I got a desk like in August. So this is like work from
Wow.
home from
Okay.
like February to August.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it crossed, because at this point I'm like still living at my parents. I don't know why. Like I had a salary. Like I don't know why it didn't cross my mind. But I remember one day I went to TJ Maxx and I saw the desk that I have now. And I called my mom and I asked her for permission. I was like, Mom, can I buy this desk? And she was like, yeah. And I was
She's
like,
like, are you
okay.
buying it with your own money? She's like, why are you asking?
She's like, yeah, just buy it. I'm like, okay, thank you. So like, I don't know. Because I was living at home. So I don't know why I asked her. So anyway, I get this desk that I have now, set it up. And it was going good. But yeah, like you said, I was in my bedroom and my bed was right behind my desk. And this was like, I don't know, for some reason, I feel like this might have been around the time of peak Tiger King because I have like vivid memories of like hopping on my bed for my lunch break to get a Tiger King episode in and eating like a toasted bagel with a banana for lunch.
That's funny. I actually never watched that. I
You've
never
never watched
indulged.
it?
No. I've just seen the memes.
Oh, you need to indulge because now they have done like follow-up episodes and follow-up seasons with all the
Really?
specific characters because it like went so viral.
Yeah, it was
And
really viral. It was, I miss thinking about everything that went viral, right? When
what
it
else
was,
like
everyone was just bonding. The coffee, right? Or something, the
I was
foam
gonna say,
coffee.
what was it called? I was about to call it foam coffee, cloud
Yeah.
coffee, foam coffee. I don't remember.
It's like
Or
cloud, yeah.
banana bread.
Yes. Did you ever make any?
No, did you?
Me neither. No. I
We're
can't
not
cook.
very good
No,
at
I
cooking.
can't cook.
We can only cook if we have a HelloFresh thing in front of us.
Yes. We can do a whole episode on how we can't cook. Literally, we can't even help you there. I
Literally,
still can't cook. I'm just like, soup.
no. Soup. I had soup for lunch today.
Nice. What kind?
Panera bread.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Good
the
choice.
broccoli cheddar.
Oh,
I know.
always a good choice.
So
Always.
good. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really have an office set up. Now though, oh, and did your parents ever, or maybe not because your parents, or you said your mom works from home, but did they ever walk in and interrupt you and be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" or like, "Want to get lunch?" or something like that?
No, I think they were very good about that because I feel like they knew how stressed I was when I transitioned. Because I was like, how do I respond to this? I was like, do I do a
Yeah.
smiley face? I was like, oh my God, this girl is going crazy. We're not going to talk to her. So far, and I usually locked my door.
Mhm.
And I usually told the whole house, I was like, I have a meeting. I need no noise. I need no embarrassing comments. La da da. Like
That was literally me. I would announce. I was like, "I have a meeting." Like my parents would be downstairs. I'm like screaming in the whole house. And if somebody made a noise, I would get so mad. I would open the door,
yeah.
like PMSing, and I'd be like, "Who made that noise?"
It's so funny because my mom works from home, so like she never made a big deal. Like I would open
Yeah.
the door to the office, like, "Hey, mom," like she'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" Like I'm literally on a call, like, and
Yeah.
this girl comes in right out of school, and I'm like, "I need silence. I need quiet. I need nothing from you guys. No food, no toast."
Literally.
Oh my God, like chill out. Again, this goes back to
And
what I said about like working in school. Chill out. Like it's not
chill
that
out.
crazy. It's another quote. There you go. Chill out.
And also, why does it feel like so embarrassing whenever anything happens on like the meeting calls? Like I knew that they all knew that I was fresh out of college and we were all learning how to work from home. But if anybody made a peep, I would be like, they hate me now. They think I'm so bad at my job. My mom was like, calm down.
Did you ever have any like awkward situations with a coworker where like their kid came in or something or
So my one coworker, is he has two babies and this little sidebar. Him and his wife are pregnant again, which like amazing, right? But my first response when he was like, "Oh, I don't know if you've heard, but like my wife is pregnant with our third kid," I was like, "Wow, you're building an army over there."
what did
I
he
was
say?
like, he laughed and I was like, "Oh, I mean, like, no, congratulations, that's amazing." And I was like, "Oh my
That's so
God, I'm so dumb." But like I've had a couple times where he'll be like, because he even during COVID, his kids' daycare was still open. And so even though he was working from home, he would send his kids to daycare because he was like, because they're like all under the age of 3. He's like, I
Oh
cannot be
gosh,
watching
yeah.
2 infants. So there was a couple times where he'd be like, sorry if there's some background noise, like the daycare is closed or something. But one time, I was on, so every month my team does like team meeting that my boss hosts, and we have to have the cameras on. Like he makes us have the cameras on, just I think just to see everybody's faces. And this was right when we moved into the new apartment. And Brett didn't know that I was on video, and he was taking a shower. And I think it was like, this was before he had his mortgage job. So he was painting. So he had worked really wonky hours where he would be home at like 2 p.m. or something. And he runs behind me in the Zoom thing with the towel on, but he runs like hunched over. Like he was trying to stay out of the screen.
Even though he has to like crawl to stay out of it.
He's like trying to run by.
I'm just gonna hunch and then I'll disappear.
Like, you know what you do when you're like in a stadium and you try to run by people, so you like crouch down so you don't obstruct their view. He like did that behind me, and he could everybody could see him like just behind me.
That's so funny.
He just has a towel on. Thank God he had a towel on. Oh my God, I cannot even imagine. I think I would have quit. I think I would have just logged off.
I think they would have fired you. They would have been like, dude.
Yeah, they probably would have been like community guidelines. I don't know. Violation. I would have just been like, sent my computer back next day air. Like, you don't have to worry about seeing me ever again. Funny. But so that happened, and everybody, we're all muted. Everybody started laughing. My face goes red as a tomato. And I just like pretended like it didn't happen, even though everybody could see it. Yeah. And then the next meeting, my boss was like, good thing that towel didn't come down. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
He didn't know I was on video. I'm like so embarrassed, but that was like probably the most embarrassing thing anybody from my company has ever seen.
That's so funny.
Luckily it was only my team, but what about you? Have you ever seen something embarrassing on video?
So I don't think, again, I feel like I'm so like adamant on nothing going wrong that I'm like, everyone silence, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm gonna sit in my room. Like, so nothing, luckily, knock on wood, has happened on my end. But I do get like those like coworkers that, you know, have kids. And then I was actually talking to her this week, and he just starts crying. Like, so she works remote in the afternoon. Yeah. Because she's so busy. And like I don't know how many kids, but he just starts crying, and I'm like, I just could not imagine like I'm asking her a question about this project. I'm annoying her, like, hello, like, can we, you know, hop on a call real quick? And then her kid is crying. I'm like, this is just so overwhelming. Like props to anyone that takes care of kids while working from home. Like that is, everyone's like, oh, like everyone has it easy now, but no, I was like, girl, oh my gosh, I felt so bad.
And people who
later, like no big deal,
had to do school from home. I don't even know how people did that. I'm like over here with my little dog, and I'm like, I need time to go take her on a walk. And then there's people out here that are like, I need to teach my kids second grade while working. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. Yeah, because again, like the remote work, I feel, or school, it was like so hard to transition. So I feel like kids just didn't know how, like people would have to literally like teach their kids. I mean, I feel like it's definitely better now, but I just feel like they wouldn't pay attention when the video was going on to the teacher and stuff. But that's crazy. That's so funny about Brett.
I literally got so mad at him after I like stomped out, and I was like, how dare you?
Because clearly he knew you were on a call. If he was hunching and running.
Like, well, in his defense, it was the first call. Or no, it was not. Well, I guess it was the first time living together that I was on a video call, because usually it was not video. But yeah, I know. I wish I would have been like screen recorder or something to see him like punch by running. Like so embarrassing. Oh my God. Let's see. Let's go to. We have our list here of things. I think we pretty much covered everything. We talked about where we work from home, parents, pets. Oh, how do you keep like a good work-life balance?
Work-life balance. I think
what is that?
Yeah, I know, right? So I think so far my work in general, I've been pretty good about logging off at 5. I think this project that I've been on site for, it's higher priority. So I've been working later, and like honestly, you know, a little bit on the weekends as well. But I think keeping a good work-life balance, I think it's important to be very transparent with your manager or your boss, not to be afraid and say, hey, I have too much right now, or hey, like my plate is kind of like, booked. Or I think it's important how you say it. You can say, I'm totally willing to take on this work, but it might be a little bit delayed because I have everything else going on. It's not because I'm slacking, but I think it's important to have that open communication. Again, keeping track of all your projects, because if they're like, okay, well, what are you working on? You can easily just pull up and be like, this is all the projects. These are the current points of each project and everything, just so they know. Because I feel like you can always start a project like November and they'd be like, oh, well, didn't you finish that in December? And you'd be like, no, this is where we're at. This is why we're delayed, etc. So I think that's honestly the main way I keep a good work-life balance, just being like very transparent about what's going on, and just like at 5 trying to, and this kind of goes off, like I know we want to talk about tips, but just trying to get out of the house at night doing something, or like having a side project, which I'll save that for our tips. But I would say that's like the main way. How about you? I feel like your job is very demanding from what it sounds like.
Well, so that's kind of like, that was like the hardest part, I think, for me to kind of grasp in my first year post grad, was I had this very strict idea in my head that I only worked 40 hours a week and I did not work on the weekends. And I've kind of now transitioned and kind of realized that I have 2 seasons in the year where I'm very busy. And during those seasons, sometimes I'm going to be working more than 8 hours a day. Like, I'm sure, days where you just have a lot going on. And so I've been trying to be like a little bit less hard on myself, because before, if I worked any minute past 8 hours, I would be like, this is such a long day, and like complain so much. And now I'm just kind of trying to be like, okay, like I know not every day is going to be like this, so it's okay.
I actually totally agree with that, because I was the same way coming out of school, and I was like, I want to, live my life, all this stuff. And especially with that first role, it was like obviously a COVID project, so it was just insane hours. So I think it was so frustrating, working anything over 40, and like in the, it was a consulting firm. So with consulting, you're expected to work more than 40, at least 45, 50. And I think one thing that we did touch on before that kind of changed that mindset was the fact that, okay, this is my project, this is my name. I'm kind of not just doing this for the company, I'm kind of doing this for my own reputation as well, because you make really good connections throughout industry. Like people remember, your work and what you did. So I feel like that's one thing that helps with that. But
I feel like
I digress.
No, I feel like too, when you think about somebody who says like, oh, I worked more than 40 hours, I work 50, 60, like it's not like we're working, for example, 60 hours a week and we're just sitting here at a desk and we're, it's like we're doing that for a reason. Like you're either on the phone with somebody, you're trying to figure something out, or you have lots of meetings for that day. So I think that that was like another thing that we just kind of realized. And so I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to have not as busy seasons. Kind of like what you said, I tried to like read the room a little bit, like if it's in the middle, smack dab in the middle of a project, I'm not going to be logging off at 4 p.m. Like I'm going to make sure my inbox is empty. There's nothing else pressing. But yeah, kind of like what you said, just trying to close your laptop and getting out of the house.
Definitely. Awesome. So should we talk about what a work from home day looks like for us? Yeah. I feel like they might differ, because I feel like you're more work from home than I am.
Yeah,
we have a better routine. You're probably more disciplined than I am.
Yeah, let's do like what it typically looks like for each of our days, and then maybe after that we can go into some of our tips for work from home.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right. I will kick it off. So what does a typical work day look like for me? I'm just going to describe what it looks like in the days that I'm strictly working from home. Because like I kind of said, sometimes there are days where I'm half and half, like half in the shop, half working from home. Sometimes there are days where I'm fully in the office, but when I'm strictly working from home, I usually get on around like 8 a.m. So I really try, and I'm not a perfect person. Some days I do roll right out of bed and log on, but on my good working days, I do try to get out of bed around 7 o'clock, maybe 7:15 if I hit snooze. Um, let Elsie out, let the dog out, feed her, get ready, make some coffee. Sometimes I try to like maybe read
Some cloud foam coffee.
eat my
Pretty good
banana
at journaling in
bread.
the morning. You had a
Journaling.
duration of time where every morning you'd be like morning journal, and I'd be like, nice. That is good because we'll talk
I
about my
have
schedule.
gotten
It's the opposite.
I have gotten so into journaling, and oh my god, this little journal I use, it's just each day there's three things
Oh,
you're grateful
cute.
for. Yeah, and
Nice.
it's so easy. So yeah, so you're right. Sometimes I do journal a little bit in the morning, have some coffee. I really try to like. I have found that if I wake up and immediately start thinking about work, I just like I stress myself out and like almost psych myself out for the day, being like, oh my God, today's gonna be so hard. I have so many things to do. I have so many meetings. Blah, blah, blah. So I really try to have like carve out a little bit of time for myself in the morning, just like get ready, think about myself, you know, get a little breakfast in. Then on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, we have we call them production meetings, but they're essentially just like updates with the shop on what's going on. So those usually take about an hour. So that's like right away in the morning. If there's any like action items that come out of those meetings, usually I take care of those after, and then kind of just like go through my inbox. And I like to try to make a to-do list the day before of things that I have to do the next day. So then I just kind of start going through that list. And then if there are any meetings that pop up, I incorporate those meetings throughout my day. I usually take lunch around noon, sometimes a little bit earlier, but I try to, get a good 4 hours of work in right away in the morning. Take my lunch break. I'll talk about like when we do the tips, kind of what I do for the lunch break, but then I come back and I'm usually logged on until 4:35, depending on how the day goes. And yeah, that's pretty much what my day-to-day looks like.
Nice. Very nice. Very established.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, and people listening might be like, no, like tell us what you're actually working on. But I don't know. I don't know about you, but sometimes like I cannot just tell you what I'm working on because every day is different. And like, yeah, there's one project I'm working on, but I guess just to keep it general, I don't know. Sometimes I'm working on a schedule. Sometimes I'm writing up a proposal. Sometimes I am trying to figure out the weights and dimensions of components for shipping. And I don't know, all different things all day long, every day.
So fun. Awesome.
What does your day look like?
So I'm the complete opposite. So I will represent all the girls that are not good at waking up in the morning, that do not have a routine. Oh my gosh. I have tried for so long, for like a year now. So I log on at 8. I wake up at 7:55. I go straight to my laptop and I let her start up for a little bit.
And you do that before you have your first meeting.
Luckily, I usually don't have too many meetings that are like right at 8, so I kind of like have a little buffer time.
Yeah.
Literally buffering. I'm like, ugh.
You're like you're like, I'm loading.
So I turn on my laptop, go to my inbox to just make sure that nothing urgent happened. It really doesn't, because I feel like I'm not, again, a project manager. I kind of am just responsible for my aspect of the project, and if something's going wrong, I kind of know that ahead of time, so I don't have too many surprises that await me in my inbox when I and then other than that, I just make my coffee and I just start cranking out. I like what you said about making a list. I do have like all the action items I need to do. I like listing them. I like crossing them off. I do use OneNote.
Yeah.
So I like erasing that. I actually just invested so we have a treadmill in my house, and I invested in something that holds your laptop, because I cannot, again, I love my standing desk. I cannot sit for 8 hours. I just can't. I just am moving around. So I started actually walking, like the speed is like 2 or 2.5, and then just like typing and reading all these documents, because I guess we can go into like an overview of what I generally do. sometimes it's like reviewing vendor validations to make sure that they're compliant and we're able to use their product. So that's when I like to walk because I don't have to type or anything. Some days it's writing up these reports and populating it. A lot of times it's like writing up these protocols and making sure all those requirements are in. What else? What else? What else?
That's so funny you say that about the treadmill, because I literally was looking at Amazon today for a fold-up treadmill to use.
I recommend. I love it. I love it. So, and then I take lunch at 12. Honestly, I feel like I work through lunch a lot. When it was nicer out, I would take a walk. I love my walks. My suburban
hot girl walk.
Yeah, literally. I'd call someone, call my grandma and be like, hey, how's it going? When I was on the East Coast, I would always call my mom. Now I'm like I work, like she works from home too. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, we talk throughout the day. So when it was nicer out, I would take my walks, which also leads into the tips a little bit. So I feel like I'm touching on that. But then the rest of the afternoon, I feel like it's just the same thing, just doing that. If we get a lot of like random questions, our team does, like regarding, FDA requirements or even like, European product requirements. So sometimes it might be like getting this question, which could be high priority. Sometimes like production matters on our answer. So sometimes it's like looking through all these standards, reading through, trying to find a loophole or an explanation or, of what our path forward is. So sometimes it's like high adrenaline, just like, okay, we need to answer this right now, or this product is halted. So, but I don't know. Other than that, just like I get to do all that random stuff. So like when I need like a break, I can just go and review some stuff or draft some stuff. But and then I don't have to work too much past hours, so it's kind of like 5 p.m. I'm logging off, trying to find something to do.
Should we just roll? You should just roll right into the tips. What are your tips for work from home?
Okay, so again, it is finding a hobby that forces you to get out of the house. Again, like 5 p.m. I feel like I would log off and be like, okay, what do I do now? I don't want to sit and watch TV. So I'd like, I don't know. I try to run errands during the week so then I can lose my weekends kind of free to see people. And again, just having a reason to go out of the house. But should we switch off maybe?
Should we go back and forth? Okay. My tip for work from home is to put your phone in a different room to make sure you stay focused. And this might sound like, duh, why wouldn't you? But okay, sometimes when you're working from home and you got your phone, we all do this. I know we do. You're looking at your phone and then all of a sudden you accidentally clicked on TikTok, okay? And you're accidentally scrolling.
It's like that TikTok trend where it's like they trip and it's like they start getting ready to go out or something.
Literally, that's like what it's like. It's like all of a sudden, how did this happen? I was working so nicely and now I'm on TikTok. Okay, so
all of a sudden you're learning how to cook banana bread on TikToks and making overnight oats. It's my TikTok nowadays.
You never know how long you're on that stupid app. So
literally.
Okay, so like if that happens to me, sometimes I will catch myself and I'll be like, oh my God, I have things to do. Like I cannot be sitting here. So I will literally put my phone in the kitchen and I will use it as like a reward. So I'll be like, okay, if I get through my inbox or like if I get these things done, then maybe I can go check it. But if not, like strictly do not check it. So that's my first tip.
That's good. I do not do that. So I represent all the girls that don't do that. Again, I told you, you're way more disciplined than I am and work from home routine.
It's not always like that. But some days I literally am like, I want to throw this stupid thing across the room.
So another tip is going on walks during lunch. I think, again, it just goes into getting out of the house. Like, I feel like when you're working from home, it's so easy to just sit in your house all day. You're busy. Everyone's busy. You always have tasks to do, but I think it's important to make that time. And I like my walks.
When we were still before work from home, my boss on the very first day, he told me, he was like, yeah, when I do my lunch break, I listen to music and I walk around the shop floor. And I was like, oh, okay, that's so cute.
That.
I know. I was like,
maybe I'll walk outside the building.
But that's funny. Yeah. Okay. My next one kind of goes with what I just said. It was to carve out time in your schedule to not be on my phone. So I like to do a rule of thumb of when I wake up. I usually do around 10 a.m. and then I will look at my phone. But I'll just read the next one because that was kind of the same thing. Stay hydrated. I have this water bottle here. You guys can't see, but it has a straw, and that way I can be drinking
a good quality water bottle.
And like typing at the same time. And I got it from Walmart, so that's my tip. Get a water bottle with a straw so you can type at the same time.
That is a good one because I feel like once you're doing work, you just kind of don't think about.
You zone out.
Hydrating. Yeah, you zone out.
Yeah.
So, okay, one tip that I have is putting time into drafting and sending out emails. So the person you're emailing has all the info. So for example, like I feel like it's very common for people to reach out to ask a question and that's it. They just ask a question. They don't give a lot of background, regarding what they did or like potential solutions. So what I found was really helpful and it kind of limits the going back and forth in emails. I kind of just would say, here's what here's the issue I'm dealing with. I looked at this document, or maybe this standard or all this stuff. This is what I think. Do you have any other solutions? Because I feel like in office, it was so easy to do that in a 2-second conversation. Like, hey, I looked at this, or here's a document, like literally show them. And they'd be like, oh, do this, And I feel like with emails, if you don't take the time to draft them, I know that some are very urgent. You got to get it out. But I feel like just taking that extra time to send like a well thought out email just saves a lot of time significantly. And just like attaching all those documents that are applicable. I think that has really helped. So
I love that one because I have caught myself a few times where I almost hit send and then I'm like, wait a second, like, like kind of catch myself and I'm like, wait, maybe I should look into it a little bit more or like, I don't know, may find out. Cause sometimes I'll be like, oh, I have a question on this document. And then it's like, well, what's your question? And I'm like, well, I don't know. What is this document? It's like,
what is it?
Take the time to like go through, find very specific questions. That's a good tip. Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like I always send like I draft it initially and then I come back 30 minutes later and then I'm like, and then I reread it.
Yeah. That's a good one. My next one is, especially if you're not really used to working from home, I like felt like I dealt with this a little bit when I first started. But get over your fear of like messing up or looking stupid. If you don't know something, just call somebody. Like I know that it can be so weird to be like, oh, I don't really want to call somebody, but just do it. Usually people are going to want to help you out, especially when you first start. And if you're remote and stuff, just put something on someone's calendar, carve out even just 15 minutes, and people are going to help you. I think that was really weird when I first started working from home because I was still pretty new to the company. And I'm sure you can relate to this, but like, I didn't know where things were. And so I would have to like schedule meetings and just ask the person, be like, can you just do a screen share and show me how to find this or like whatever. They could help me and it was fine.
And just in general, when you start a job remote, I think it's really helpful to just like reach out to people and ask for a Teams call. Like I actually got a few calls like that from people who just started. And I'm like, that's crazy that I'm the person that they like are wanting to talk to now. And I'm like, oh my God.
Started from the bottom, now we hear.
And I was like, this is crazy. I'm like a little bit of seniority. I was like, granted, they were a little bit older than me and they had higher positions, but they still wanted to get to know you. So yeah. That's definitely a good point because I feel like you can always catch yourself and be like, no, I don't want to bother them. But it's important to make those connections.
Yeah.
So my next one is invest in a standing desk. We already talked on that, but it does wonders. Big difference than just sitting. But yeah, and even if you don't invest in a standing desk, just find like a little countertop, just stand a little bit, just stretch it out.
Sometimes I do stand at the kitchen counter because like I said, I have a standing desk at work and I use it when I do go into the office. It's nice, like right in the morning when I've had my coffee and I'm like all energized to be like standing. But sometimes you want to sit down.
Yeah, I like doing it after lunch because I get so sleepy.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
I'm like, no, you gotta stand up.
Yeah. Oh wait, it's my turn. I forgot for a second. Okay. Next one. This one again is one that I don't know. I don't always do this. I mean, I wore sweatpants today, but sometimes if you're in a funk with work and you're working from home, my tip would be to get dressed as if you are going into the office, put makeup on, put shoes on. It'll make you feel more like you're going to your job. Lexi and I are both kind of lucky in that we have other working areas to work in that aren't like our beds aren't right behind us, but especially if your bed is right behind you, I don't know, it can be so hard to like get in the working mode. So even if it's just one day a week, and for some reason, like putting shoes on, I don't know, makes me feel more like I'm actually at work.
Yeah, I like that because I definitely don't do that at all. I wake up for the first half of the day, I'm like wearing what I slept in my pajamas.
PJs.
Second half, I'm like, all right, new pair of sweats.
Yeah.
So I like that. Maybe I'll give that a go. Maybe
It's not all the time because sometimes I'm just like not feeling it, but yeah.
All right. So my last one is regarding the background, kind of the setting of where you take these calls. So one thing I noticed is that people comment on your background, which I would never personally do that. Maybe I overthink things too much and I just would never, it just makes me,
I would not either.
Uncomfortable. Like, I don't know. Just not something that would come to my mind, like that I should comment on. And so I would get these comments like, oh, where are you sitting now? Like, oh, I haven't seen this background of yours before. And I'd be like, interesting. Like, I don't really care that much, but like kind of makes me like feel a little weird. Like,
yeah.
So I'm trying to like experiment now actually with taking my calls in different areas to like
see if people will say something.
Yeah, well, and I'm like, just so they get used to it, so they stop giving that question. And like when they ask, I'm like, oh, just like here, just like new setting, like you know, trying to play it off. But also a funny story, or set up your call like with a preset on Zoom or Teams.
Yeah, one of the like backgrounds.
I thought this really white apartment, natural light, beautiful apartment, I thought that was a real place. And then I realized someone else had it. And I was
just the background?
It was just the background. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh, this girl is living the life. I was like, I would love to wake up with that natural light and just live there. And oh my God, I'm so jealous. And then I realized it's a preset. So I'm like, wow. And that was like my first role, like first job.
Oh God.
I was like, wow, she has a really nice apartment. No, it was just background.
Don't believe everything you see online.
Yeah, but they exist. So if you feel uncomfortable with your background,
just change it.
Your little preset.
That's like, so I'm sitting in our second bedroom and Brett, my boyfriend that I live with, is a big hunter and he wants to put, because we have the bed back there, the second bed, he wants to put deer heads on the wall.
Oh my God.
And at first I was like, you know what? It's the second bedroom. I'll let him decorate it how he wants. Cause I'm usually like, I don't really like your.
Cause you decorate the rest of the house.
Yeah. I decorate the rest of the house. And then I was like, if he puts all of those animals behind me, every time I go on a Zoom call, people are going to be like, oh, I didn't know you were a hunter. Like,
yeah.
No, but
that's so funny. Actually, funny story. The first time I walked into your house, so she has vaulted ceilings, beautiful house, completely renovated inside. Vaulted ceilings. I look up. There's like a little squirrel.
they're coyotes.
Oh, it's a coyote.
They're not a squirrel. Coyotes.
It's like draped over the. It's like laughing. I'm like, how did you get it up there? Just throw it.
Literally, he just throws it. I'm like, why are these about? At this point, we're just used to it. But it's funny. Yeah. Every time anybody comes in, they're like, oh my God, what's up there?
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh wait, I think I have one more tip. Do I?
Yes, one more.
Oh yeah, one more. Okay. We kind of talked about this, but try to make boundaries if you can. Obviously, sometimes there are extenuating circumstances where you cannot and you have to keep working, but try to close your laptop at the end of the day and have somewhat of a social life.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think I have any more. Those were all mine, but
okay, we kind of talked about home office setups. Somebody asked us on our Instagram if we had tips for looking for mostly remote jobs. I don't personally have too much experience in this. Maybe we could bring on like some sort of a careers person to talk about it, but do you have any experience, Lexi?
I would say just looking for jobs. So my job is basically remote, but I have the ability to travel. So usually it kind of lists that on the job description, or just like look for a job that isn't in a manufacturing environment. So like, I think it's like continuous improvement engineer. So I feel like a lot of that is like looking at processes. Sometimes you can be on site, but I feel like a lot of the times, like those types of jobs maybe operations a little bit too. Not sure. Like could be remote.
Or maybe some sort of IT.
Well, definitely, yeah, definitely IT
like
for sure.
computer
Yeah.
sciencey type
I'm
jobs.
trying to think for like if you have like a mechanical engineering though, like you can just do like we have a risk management engineer who he kind of looks at the documents and kind of just like suggests improvements, but
yeah,
I don't know. So he's not on site too much. So I would say those types of jobs that kind of mix like some aspect of operations or business instead of just having a role that's like manufacturing, if that makes
yeah.
sense. So that's the
And I
only.
think a lot of jobs now too, I think a lot of companies are going work from home. I mean, I think if you just, I personally like using LinkedIn to look for opportunities. And I think if you could literally just put remote engineer and a lot
Yeah,
of opportunities will pop up.
definitely more common now. But yeah.
Sweet. Well, I think we have one more thing we want to talk about, which is social life with your coworkers and just like engaging with them. I don't know. I don't know if you have any tips for this, Lexi. I like don't really, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm in the office, we'll go out and get lunch, but I haven't had too many experiences yet where we have done like a happy hour or like gone to an event. My coworkers said before COVID, because we're in Milwaukee, that we would do like Brewers games in the summer,
Ooh,
like
that's
baseball
cool.
games, which I
Yeah.
thought was so fun. But we haven't really done too much like that. I don't know if you have.
Yeah,
Done
I would say
anything.
the only suggestion would be again just reaching out when you're new. Like, don't be afraid to set up those meetings. Like, I love it. I was so excited to like talk to these people and like
Yeah.
felt so important. Other than that, I would say like I know it's very easy to feel like you're annoying someone when you message them on Teams, but maybe just send like a little message here and there just to keep in touch. Because again, it's really easy not to talk to someone for weeks when you're remote, if
Yeah.
you're not actually involved in a project with them. So those are my suggestions. I know that my company is a little larger, so we're not doing too many like team events, but yeah, so I would say that would
Yeah.
be the best way.
TBD. We're still
Yeah.
figuring out how to
Yeah,
be social.
we'll ponder. Yeah, how to be social.
We're still figuring that out.
Living and
Typical
learning.
engineer, living and learning.
It's funny.
Oh my god. Okay, so audience questions. So we asked you guys on our Instagram if you had any questions about working from home. Again, if you want to participate in future podcast episodes, make sure to follow us on our Instagram. It's at My Best Friends and Engineer. We usually try to do like a little question box before we record every episode, but I think we pretty much went over everything. We tried to. If we didn't get to your thing, just DM us.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try and do like a Q&A, just straight questions of like any questions.
Any
Like maybe
questions?
yeah, anything that we missed, maybe yeah.
Yeah,
We have
we'll do
I feel like
a Q&A episode.
yeah. So keep sending them in.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Invest in a standing desk and walk a little
And a
bit during the
treadmill.
day. Yeah.
And a water bottle with a straw.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And that's all we have to say.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we kind of touched on this at the beginning of the episode, but we do have these templates that Lexi was describing. So if you guys share the podcast, make sure you take a screenshot if you share it on your social media. Hopefully the survey works. If it doesn't work, just DM our Instagram, but send in that screenshot via the survey and we will send you the templates.
Yes.
And then we have touched on this on a couple other episodes, but we are going to do some sort of a giveaway. In order to be entered in the giveaway, you have to actually leave us a rating. So I don't think you can leave a rating on Spotify, or you can leave a rating, but you can't leave an actual review. On Apple Podcasts, you can leave a rating and then like type a word review, if that makes sense, So that's how you can enter the giveaway. We figured a Visa gift card would probably be the best way to do it because we know that some of you listening may need to use it while you're in school, maybe to buy books or like a calculator, or maybe some of you are listening and you're in your career and you could use it to buy PPE or a new laptop, or I don't know, whatever you want to use it for. Hopefully it can be helpful.
Definitely. And we haven't decided when the giveaway will happen yet. Maybe we can we can go the engineer route and set a quantitative following count.
Ooh.
That's TBD, but keep entering.
It'll definitely be sometime in 2022. Could be middle of the year, could be end of the year. We're still figuring it out. This is only week 3 of actually recording these.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because I feel like we've done so many episodes, but
I know. Episode 5.
Yeah, I think it was because we did the first 3 at first.
Yeah.
Like that would I think that was a good idea. But yeah. So make sure to follow our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube for more updates. Our Instagram and TikTok are My Best Friends in Engineer. Our YouTube is BFE Podcast.
And then be sure to follow our personal accounts. I am at Libby B on the label on Instagram and TikTok.
And I am Engineer Lexi on Instagram and TikTok.
And I think that's it. We have some really cool people lined up to interview on the podcast.
I am so excited.
I think we're gonna have, I don't know. I'm just so excited for our audience listening because I think we have so many cool backgrounds of people that we're bringing on and like their experiences and the jobs they do, and it'll just be awesome to interview these women.
Definitely, I'm so excited.
So stay tuned. Catch us next Monday. And are we going to finally get the outro this time?
I don't know. I was like thinking about it. I'm nervous. Okay.
It makes me so nervous. Okay.
All right.
Well, wait, can you say our names again?
Oh, yeah. Oops.
I feel like okay. You go first.
Okay. I'm Lexi.
I'm Libby.
And thanks for
listening to my
best friends
and engineer
here.
Oh my God. You know what? Maybe
we'll get it.
We'll get it. By the end of the year, they'll get it.